So, for the last 7 to 8 years, I've been going to every single Million Mask March in central London, here in the UK. Now, while I can't speak for the rest of the world, or actually the rest of the country, what I have noticed is, over the last few years, the numbers are dwindling. Now, when I first went there in 2014, 2015, let's bring this camera down a bit more, I was in a sea of people, just literally thousands. I wouldn't say a million, but there were thousands of people there. And then when I went the other day, because I'm recording this on November the 8th, 2023, there was more press photographers than actual protesters. There was about 50. I'm not kidding. There was about 50 protesters, maybe 60. And I kind of wondered, is there any point to me being here? Normally, I would get there about an hour early, and there would already be people there with their masks on. And over the next hour or two, people would slowly start to, settle in until about 6:30, 7 o'clock, when the march would actually begin. And then when the march did begin, we would all just, walk calmly down the streets of central London, inconveniencing a lot of people on the road, which you can agree or disagree on. I'm not here to talk about that. And there were, as I said, there were thousands of people. Now, in case you're unaware of who Anonymous actually is, it originally started out as a trolling group on 4chan. Yes, 4chan. And they got the mask that we all know, the Guy Fawkes mask, in around 2003, and they fully implemented it in around 2007. And that's when they started to hack people like the Westboro Baptist Church, Sony, the KKK, and lots of other, they became the hacktivist group. You didn't mess with Anonymous because they were either hacking your company or they were protesting you. They hacked the Church of Scientology. Even more recently, they actually hacked state media of Vladimir Putin in Russia to show pro-Ukrainian propaganda, such as the flag and music and stuff like that. So they were considered a force to be reckoned with. Anonymous never had a leadership, but it did have higher-ups. It did. And there was a lot of mistrust with the higher-ups, especially after the mole incident. Yes, in around 2011, there was a mole. And because of said mole, 16 of its hacktivists, words they use, were arrested by the FBI. And because of that, no one trusted each other. So after that, the top of the Anonymous group kind of just disappeared. So without I know Anonymous doesn't have a leader, but without its main group, its leader group, so to speak, it kind of just fell apart. In progressing years, you can see the numbers on the protests start to actually fall until we get to today's number, this year's number of about 50, 60 people. Now, don't get me wrong, millions of people are still using the Guy Fawkes mask. They are. Lots of people use it. I've seen it in a fair few protests myself that aren't associated, so to speak, with Anonymous. Because anyone can be anonymous, really, because you just put the mask on and you're anonymous. It's kind of the whole point. So Anonymous does live on. It's just in smaller packages, which don't really work. They don't have the same power that they used to. And I think the reason for that is that this was kind of one protest for everything. It was kind of a general shop for everything that you wanted. So if you wanted to protest the government, if you wanted to protest big companies, you went to this one march on the 5th of November. Guy Fawkes Night in the UK. But now it kind of has to contend, so to speak, with other protests. Because people aren't just going, actually, let's protest once a year. Let's protest throughout the year continuously. So, as an example, let's look at the pro-Palestine protests that have been happening every single weekend for the last week or two. Or Just Stop Oil in the UK, who some of them have been recently arrested for stopping an ambulance, even though their apparent blue light notice, where they they move out the way to let people come, to let ambulances and emergency services come through. So people have stopped going to that one general event to go to more specific niche events. Whether they're wearing the anonymous mask or not is another question. But Anonymous has kind of died. And to be fair, it's kind of sad, really, because it gave the average person, I feel, a little bit of power and a sense of community. Now, yes, they can obviously still go out and, protest for their own causes that they feel like they want to, belong to. But there's something about, for me personally, the 5th of November protest, the Million-Mast March. Do you get what I'm saying? So it is kind of a shame that we've lost Anonymous. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one.